Fascinating story today with Boeing asking our own CSIR to do further research on titanium. Now, titanium is an increasingly important metal in the development of aircraft fuselages and also many of the components that go into aircraft. As much as 25% of the metals in modern aircraft can be made up of titanium, and the CSIR has been doing interesting things in titanium for a long time. Dr. Willie du Preez is director of the Titanium Centre of Competence at the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in Pretoria, the CSIR. Willie, tell us about titanium and what makes it such a good metal for aircraft.
Titanium is used in conjunction with carbon fiber composite material that's being used nowadays very extensively also in commercial aircraft. In the past, the frames of aircraft were mostly made from aluminium, but if aluminium is in direct contact with the carbon fiber type of composite material, you tend to get a corrosion, which is obviously not good for such type of component. Titanium, on the other hand, is really fully compatible with the carbon fiber composite. It does not corrode. If it's in seawater, it could actually last for decades without corroding. If the composite content of an aircraft increases, the titanium normally also increases.
Okay, so here we've got a situation where, for example, I think it's the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, probably the lightest aircraft ever built, has got a large percentage of titanium in it.
Yes, up to about 15% is what they tell us.
Okay, so 15%, and then there's some aircraft where the titanium, if you include components, can be as high as 25%, which is why I suspect Boeing is terribly keen for you to do further research. What are they hoping you can achieve through your additional research?
Currently, Boeing has basically two suppliers of titanium, which is coming from either Russia or the US. They are looking at having a broader supplier base. So that is why they also a number of years ago already engaged with the South African government and said that if South Africa can supply titanium, obviously at the right specification, then they will be buying from us. So this gives us an opportunity to establish a new titanium metal industry in the country. Currently, we are mining titanium mineral. We have the second largest reserves of titanium-bearing mineral in the world. We just mine it and we slightly beneficiate it and then export it as a slag, which contains maybe 80 to 90% of titanium dioxide. But we don't produce any metal. All titanium metal that we use, we have to import at a few orders of magnitude more expensive than the slag that we are exporting. So there's a real opportunity for us as a country to get a new industry sector going with the accompanying new opportunities for companies and for job creation and the like.
We're not getting the full benefit then of a natural resource of which we are the world's second biggest repository of titanium. But titanium extraction has been pretty controversial in the past. Doesn't it occur for example, in sand dunes along coastlines and things like that? Those are the stories I recall of titanium extraction. Or can it be fairly environmentally friendly, be extracted in a fairly environmentally friendly way?
You know, what we see on the KwaZulu-Natal northern coast and so on, where you get the kind of black sand, that is really the so-called mineral sands that contain titanium. Now, a lot more has nowadays been done to restore the environment after the mining. But what I want to stress is that when we talk about titanium metal production, and this is the global situation, for the metal production, only about 5 to 10% of what is anyway mined is used for metal. What I'm saying is that we don't have to mine more in South Africa than what we're already doing. We just use 5 to 10% of what's already produced and turn that into metal. We generate much more income for the country and the jobs and the new economic activity that goes with that.
So just to clarify then, your research, the Boeing-funded research, the research they've asked you to do is on how to produce this titanium powder, which, as I understand it, is a far more efficient way of delivering titanium rather than in big slabs of the stuff.
Actually, Boeing is not funding this. The development of the technology, which is a patented South African technology, was done through funding from the Department of Science and Technology, and they're continuing to fund this. But what Boeing is bringing to the party for us is that they know exactly what is needed when you turn the metal into components for aerospace, for instance. And there are extensive qualification processes to make sure a component will comply with what they need. They are very keen to get involved with us on that part of the value chain, if you like, where you now have the metal and you want to convert that into components or parts or structures for aircraft.
Dr. Willie du Preez, all the best with the project. I think it's very exciting. Director of the Titanium Centre of Competence at the CSIR. That's the second bit of government-funded extraordinary stuff that is happening.